the idea that our goals are proclamations to the world that we can overcome obstacles.
Mm.
I thought that was a really profound nugget because it's saying not that you're going to be happy for the sake of just being happy and just randomly, like I said, being in that field with the unicorns and the rainbows and the birds flying around your head, but that it's okay and it's really great to have purpose and have goals of where you want to go. And that by having those, that's kind of saying, hey, world, I know that not everything is perfect. I know that I'm going to have challenges along the way. And by setting this goal, I'm confident and I'm saying that I can overcome challenges.
Welcome back to In Residence. I'm Keith.
And I'm Laura.
Hey, Laura.
Hi, Keith.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Doing swell. What are we talking about?
Okay. So today I want to talk about happiness.
Okay.
And so hear me out. What?
Nothing.
You're just laughing at me.
Yeah.
So over the last couple weeks, I've had a number of different things that I have either read or stumbled upon where happiness has been a really big piece of the work. So one of those pieces is a book called Happier by Ben-Shahar. And it's a little bit of an older book, but it was one that was recommended to me around when you're thinking about those big goals that you want to achieve. One of the ways to achieving them is to make sure that you're tapping into little moments of happiness.
Mm.
And so that was one piece that I started listening to.
We talk about like celebrating small wins, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Cool.
And then on the way home on Friday, I stumbled upon two different podcasts where the theme was happiness. And so there's one with Simon Sinek, who talked to, I'm going to look up the name, Mo Gawdat.
Okay.
Gawdat, Gawdat. They were talking about happiness and how important it was to identify ways to be happy. And really that you can hold happiness and disappointment or sadness at the same time, that it's not something you arrive to.
Okay.
And I thought that was really interesting. And then I listened to a Gary Vee podcast as well that was all around accountability, but really talking about accountability and how important it is to think about what do you want to do, not from a point of I'm doing this to make lots and tons of money, but I'm doing this for the purpose of fulfillment, for purpose. I'm holding myself accountable for that because that is what's going to in turn make me happy.
Mm.
And so there was all of these pieces that started to weave together for me. And I thought it would be fun to talk a little bit about happiness and get your thoughts on it and
Okay.
kind of go from there.
Okay. Well, where do you want to start?
I thought we could just start with thinking about what do we think happiness is.
Mm.
I'll start by sometimes I know I've thought of happiness is free of any problems, right? Like standing in the middle of the field singing with birds, like floating around and unicorns galloping through, right? And rainbows and no problems here, no trouble. That is pure happiness.
Yeah.
Right?
Well.
And I don't know if I believe that as much anymore.
Yeah, it makes me think of like if you take that thought experiment a little further.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you were a vampire, right? And you like couldn't die unless somebody like did the things that kill a vampire, right? Basically immortal, right? Or Highlander for my other nerds out there. How mundane and boring and possibly unfulfilling a life without problems or pain could be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kind of that kind of thing. I'm sure it's been articulated by other people better, but like if there's no light, there's no dark kind of thing,
Right.
right? And so like if there's no problems, then is there happiness? Like if there's nothing but happiness, I don't know if our human condition could function the way
Right.
it does, kind of thing. I don't mean to get too heady there because I probably don't quite understand what I'm saying as well as I don't understand it as well as I want to, but the idea of happiness is an interesting one. So like for me, um, I think David Brooks, there's an interview with him. It's like really long interview. I don't even know if I've seen the whole thing, but and I brought this up before, and he's talking about the difference between happiness and joy, and
Okay.
which I don't think they're my point isn't that they have to be separate. It's just that happiness, he defines happiness as kind of focused on yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and like when you're happy, it's about you and you're enjoying what's happening and all that stuff. And joy is more of it transcends you, and it's there's there's something there where when I think of happiness, it's more of like I can be and do what I want to do, and it's not incongruent with my surroundings or the people around me, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost content. I feel like I brought that up before too. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly where, but like yeah, like I don't necessarily think of it as like utopia. Like that's kind of what you were
Right.
describing, right? So,
Yeah. And I think if you asked me 10 years ago, I would think it's that utopia.
yeah.
I feel like I've evolved
Mhm.
um, over the years. And I agree with you. I feel that there's kind of this content piece to it, but I also think it's tied to having a purpose of where you're headed, and also not just purpose, but also being able to live as you authentically are.
Yeah.
Like there's something about being able to show up as you um, that can also help me be happier when I'm taking care of myself and I'm honest about what I need and I'm following through with that. That creates more happiness when I'm taking care of myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I was saying with, when what I want isn't in opposition of say like what you want,
Right.
I'm pretty happy. Right.
That is also, that's often
Y-
a win, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, cool.
What when I want one thing and other people want another, and then you have to, it feels like a sacrifice,
Yeah.
but
That you have to give
maybe it's
something up.
simply a compromise, but like it's on a spectrum, right? And so I can't, there's got to be examples of like, okay, you want this for dinner, I want this. Oh, you got to figure that
Mhm.
out. But then there's other things on a much larger scale where like life changing decisions where it's like if you're not in it together, like that can be pretty painful, right? If you're not lined up
Yeah.
and like kind of like you said, heading in the same direction kind of thing, or like
Hmm.
going in the direction I want to go. Like when if if that's taken away from me or it's in direct contrast to what you want, that would be pretty painful. Right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be very happy
Right.
with that, It's
Yeah.
so I don't know. Is that the definition of like being in harmony with like your surroundings? I mean, maybe that's what happiness is like being in
Kind of
harmony.
being in harmony.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that definitely um, helps, right? Uh,
There's dissonance and there's consonance too though. And that's what
right.
like so harmony makes me think of music. I like both.
Right.
I like a flat fifth. Doesn't have to be a perfect fifth every time. Like I like the way it feels when there's a minor, or a diminished, so
Yeah.
um yeah, okay. I don't know.
No, um I think that it's interesting when you have that push and pull, the dissonance too. So I'm thinking of a silly example, but last night I had taken down the Christmas tree, right? And I came up and I'm like, I'm going to take a bath. Like, I haven't taken one in a long time, and I'm going to take one.
Yeah.
Right. And I got in there, and our house is of a certain age.
Well, and so I know what you're talking about now. We live in an area that has hard water.
Yes.
So the tub spout is like seized shut because I take showers.
Yes.
And so.
And I haven't taken a bath for a long time.
Yeah. So the tub was
it's got to be a couple of years, probably.
The tub
or
faucet
a year.
was not working, and
it wasn't.
You had in your head, I'm going to treat myself.
I'm going to take care of myself, self-care.
Yeah.
And take a bath with some Epsom salts and relax my muscles, because we had worked out too.
Yeah.
Right? Did some lifting of heavy weights, and like, I'm going to treat myself and relax in a bath and read a good book. And it wasn't going to work. Right now I have vinegar up tied around it.
Yeah.
I also bought some more like CLR. I think that's right.
Cleanser.
Yeah, cleanser, to try and get that calcium buildup and lime buildup to just shake loose.
Yeah.
And it'll come eventually. But I know I was sitting there and I was waiting and and I'm like, well, maybe I'll clean the bathroom. And I think you were kind of on edge a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm.
Why were you on edge?
Because that I literally almost what I was saying is, so I fell asleep. I had just woken up from a nap, right?
Yep.
So like I needed some self-care because of like what we had been doing and exerting ourselves and stuff. And so I woke up and my headspace was, we are going to relax today and tonight. And I started before you because you were taking care of getting the Christmas tree down.
Yep.
And when I see things not going well for you, I take them on. The empath in me, and this is something I was journaling on earlier today, and because it came up this week. I was listening, is Carl Jung on empaths. So it was really, you should listen to it and get some insights into probably how I work and operate. But I take it on. And that's something I need to work on. Like, I need to do these things that I need to notice when I'm like, you being disappointed that something's not working out makes me feel disappointed. And then a little on edge and feels like it's my fault. I take it on. So that's what, and I know you're kind of used to that happening, and it's fewer and farther in between.
Right.
But it's something that I have to deal with.
Right. And I think you did a really good job, because cleaning the bathroom is not something that you probably were like, she really wants to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I have like the scrubbing bubbles. I'm trying to get this to break up.
Yeah.
And I may or may not get a bath tonight, but I can dust in here. I can clean off my side of the counter. I can organize and get all the stuff in the closet that doesn't need to be just like on, sitting around.
Mm.
And I was actually feeling pretty like, oh yeah, I got this. I'm going to have a clean bathroom. I'm going to shut the drawers instead of just having them open with the hair dryer hanging out and stuff like that. And so I think it's one of those times that I said, yeah, this is good. I wasn't. Now, other times, I think you're right. I could be cleaning the bathroom and like, not angry cleaning. What is that called? When you just like clean.
What it feels like. But I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, I'm just going to do it because no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
I wasn't coming from that space at all last night, which sounds weird because it is a bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's how it feels to me. And that was an example of one of the things what I was writing about was, where in my life do I need to take responsibility for, like how I'm showing up or how I'm maybe standing in the way of my own happiness.
Sure.
And it's when I take on other people's feelings. And I'm sure many people understand that when you do that, and like so, like I've had to step away from the news, right? Like when you take on all of the bad things that are happening or can happen because we live in such a global news environment where you can hear about all the bad things happening all the time, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And when it simply happens because I feel guilty that you're cleaning and I'm not, and that wasn't on my radar, and then I'm like, well, I should have done it so she didn't have to. And then I start that downward spiral of I'm not good enough kind of thing. Like, so I need to catch myself doing that. I kind of did last night.
You did, because sometimes one or the other of us, I don't think it's unique to just you, but if one person's relaxing and the other person is choring, um, we have a tendency to be like, "Ugh, now I'm feeling guilty for relaxing. I should be choring." And, like, "Ugh, but I didn't want to, so it's almost like we can prevent the other one from doing the thing that they're okay doing, even though they aren't doing it in a resentful way,
Yeah.
And I think if you would have tried to prevent me from cleaning, because I was in the zone, I was feeling good about doing it. I think I would have been a little resentful that you stopped me from doing the thing that was bringing me happiness.
Right.
Yeah,
So it can be like those different things of the feeling of if you're doing it and then I feel like I'm being redirected to do it or else I'm not part of the team,
sure.
then there's that resentment. And then, but that comes from what I've learned over the last year or so is I'm simply filling in the blanks of, oh, if I don't stop what I'm doing and do what she wants, right?
Mhm.
I'm filling in those blanks that will make her happy, right?
Yeah.
And whereas what I ought to do is be more curious and be like, all right, ask you a question like is it okay that like I'm sitting here because my plan was to relax, and I see that that was your plan too, and that shifted, and you can't take the bath you wanted, and I'm feeling bad about so one being curious but also being open and communicating instead of creating the story and the soundtracks and then the scripts,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you and I are both getting better at that, and yet I find myself doing the same thing of anticipating, filling in the blanks, wondering why this is happening instead of asking why, right? So that was interesting. How I was getting in my own way or my own happiness. Because I was happy falling asleep. I caught myself falling asleep, and I just was like glasses off, and like I just like laid over, and it was like maybe 20, 30 minutes. I think it wasn't too long, but and then I woke up and like the re-entry was, oh, Laura's not getting what she wants. I feel bad, and like and going into that empathetic thing that was making it more about me than you in a way. Like I got more work to do there, but yeah, trying to not fill in the blanks is something that's been big for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's important to catch. Because, to be real honest, you might have taken your nap earlier in the day, but I took a nice hearty nap during the football game.
Yeah.
I think I even looked over at you and I'm like, I am probably going to fall asleep. I'll see you in a couple hours.
Yeah. You slept through the entire football game.
I saw the first touchdown.
I mean, you woke up a few times and then you kept going back, and then I literally looked, I'm like, oh, she's been sleeping for 2 hours. So like, okay.
Yeah.
And then you still got a full night's sleep.
Oh, sure did. I feel great today.
That was good.
One thing that I want to maybe shift and talk about a little, and we're kind of talking about it, but one thing that came up through these different things I've been listening to and reading have really been talking about not outsourcing your happiness to something external. So external validation, will therefore make you happy. So, doing something that you enjoy, but then waiting for someone to say, you did a good job. So then you can feel happy about the thing you did. Or doing a project and having um, somebody, you know, have it return so much money, right? Saying, like, oh, look, it was valuable because somebody recognized it and gave me money to do it. And therefore, I am now happy, right? Or even like you and I, one thing we've been trying to do more and more has been putting things up on social media. So you've been working on YouTube and Shorts. I've been working on Insta and Facebook. You've been doing more LinkedIn. I've been doing a few TikToks. Not sure how that's going, but people tell me they like them. So we're just going to keep being my dorky self.
Yeah.
But it's hard to put those things out there because when you see the views and the likes, you go, oh gosh, validation, right? That's great. But you have to make sure, at least this is me talking, from my perspective, you have to be sure that what you're doing is something that you really enjoy doing and that brings you happiness and centers around your sense of purpose and your goals of where you want to go. Because if you're doing a whole bunch of stuff just for the external validation, it doesn't have that deeper purpose or meaning. I think that the happiness, even if you think it's happiness at first, it would be really hard to sustain.
Like working on the podcast and the videos and the shorts and like the content. Like the reason we started doing it is in my lens is we talk about some interesting things that help us move along to where we're trying to go. And I really enjoy, like you just said, how many podcasts and books were like informed to this topic, right?
A lot. More to mention.
And so you share that stuff with me, and now we just happen to do it while we're hitting record because maybe we can be a little more open about it and publicly share it. Like, and you're obviously like the one that's like, hey, you are the one that keeps talking about doing a podcast every now and then. Like, let's do it,
Yeah.
And so the point was, let's share the conversations we're having because if something we say can help somebody else get further along on their journey, like, isn't that kind of amazing? Like,
Absolutely.
it feels like when I think about that, it feels fulfilling. It feels significant. It feels kind of magical, like to have an impact in a positive way to help not only us get further along of where we want to be, but others, it's so fun. And then now that we're doing it, I do find myself when I post something, how many listens is it getting? How many views? And
it's hard not to, right?
It's the human condition of comparison and how am I doing? Am I getting an A? Right? I want to do best. I'm an achiever.
Sure.
But from the beginning, like I've known enough and I've heard enough from other people of like, that's a slippery slope. So if you're going to do something where there are measurable things that tell you whether or not you're doing a good job, try to make it something that does resonate with you. Like I just said, feels significant, feels important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I do find myself every now and then, like, how did it do? How many views did it get? Because I do want that validation.
And you want to make sure that people are getting value from it because that's your purpose. You want to add value to the world.
Because it's not just about making it like for like my ego.
Right.
Well, and actually, this came up again too. Like Rick Rubin, like we talked about the creative act. One of his things is the best way to make is to simply make for yourself and not think of the audience. And he's like, when you make something for yourself, you are putting so much energy into it that is so, I don't know if he says pure or clean or like however he describes it, but in so doing that, it serves the audience even better than if, like he compares it to like when people make like a summer blockbuster movie. It's like there's so many people on a committee that are trying to do what they think the audience wants that no wonder it kind of flops and it's not that great.
Right.
And you're not talking about it next summer. You're hoping the next summer blockbuster is better versus, some of these like independent movies, that you might see like, oh, this person really had a vision and they had a perspective to share and they're doing this because they have a point of view and they want to share that and see who it resonates with, right? Yeah. So I don't want to sound like I'm doing this just for me and you, but kind of at the heart of it is you and I, right? Like that's kind of the point is like, this is selfishly for us to connect and to have this time set aside.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate that we decided to do it when we did, because now more than ever, we need this,
because
we are majority of the time apart.
Yeah.
So this is when we're actually in the same room together. And so it's a little weird, but I'm glad that we have this habit and like this practice.
Yeah. I mean, there was a point when I began working across the state and we were doing a lot of re-releases. And I think which was good because it was difficult to record and have it ready. And we weren't quite sure. We recorded some at our apartment in Green Bay, and it was fine. But we recorded in the closet a couple times. I think our neighbor definitely can hear us. Because we can definitely hear their music in the closet. So I'm sure they could hear the whole episode. Yeah. But
I wonder if they subscribed. No.
I wonder, subscribe, share with your friends. Oh. No, sorry, that sounded very clickbaity. But what I'm trying to say is when we were doing all those re-releases, it was good because it kept the habit of having one released every single week. But I missed the connection with you. I missed advancing the purpose that we have and not just sharing the things we've already said, but creating new things to add value to our listeners and people that are showing up for us and with us.
Yeah. I definitely had, my mindset was, I decided that we were going to release something every week. And then I kind of found this loophole of, well, I can do a re-release because all these other people that I respect and I like their shows, they do it too. And because it's the holiday and I deserve a break too, right? And then since that was easy to do, then it was like, well, you and I are going through a huge transition as a family, as a couple, in our relationship of this big shift. Okay, I need more bandwidth to help our day-to-day move through that. Therefore, I'm going to re-release something. I think I was doing it every other week kind of thing.
I think so.
And so I was focused on hitting a mark. And I don't know if you've ever actually told me before if that was why you were pushing me to like, let's record more.
I probably didn't.
Because of the connection, right?
Yeah.
So if you had said that, that was one of those times where like, I think we were somehow in opposition of like, well, my aim was got to keep shipping. And your aim was, I want to feel connected.
Yeah. And I don't want to keep having an excuse not to do this.
So if you would say that's an excuse, I'm like, I'm just trying to keep my head above water kind of thing. Because my goal is to feel like this is professional and we show up when we say we're going to show up, and it's okay because I'm hoping, I think part of me too is like the hubris of me was like, I hope what we release is evergreen enough where I can re-release something and it still has value, right? So there's all these things swirling around with that. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm rambling too much because I'm having fun. Where did we even start with that? Not focusing on like the numbers and the views.
And not letting the external validate us to create happiness.
Yeah. Totally see that with this project. And it hasn't taken over, and I'm not like constantly sitting and thinking of how can I optimize this and all that, but really where I'm putting most of my energy is how can I make the best impact, and continue to do this in a way that I don't wake up one day and be like, you know what, that only got 4 people listening. I'm done, Right. Like I don't want to be another one of those kind of stories where I give up too soon kind of thing because I was measuring the wrong thing.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I get that. And so there's one more theme that came up in all of these pieces. And I thought we could talk about it just briefly as well. But is the idea that we have the capacity to choose optimism. So this came out really strongly in Simon Sinek's podcast. But being able to sit there and say, okay, here's where I'm at. It doesn't necessarily need to be happiness, like, yay, I'm so happy, right? But is there a moment when you're working through something or approaching something and you say, okay, time out. I can either take the path where I feel frustrated, sad, all these other feelings and emotions. I can still feel those things possibly and have optimism that it's going to be better. And this connects to another book I haven't brought up yet, and I didn't even share with you, but Man's Search for Meaning.
Oh, Viktor Frankl.
Yeah, by Viktor Frankl.
Yeah.
And really thinking about, so for those that haven't read the book, it's about a gentleman who's in the concentration camps in Germany, I think in Germany.
Yeah.
Right. And goes through how when you're in a situation like that, you can choose to feel distraught, sad, scared, all those things. You can also choose hope, optimism, and I've just started kind of going through it, but I think it's a good lesson for all of us that even in really, really difficult times, Viktor Frankl chose hope, right? He chose optimism. He chose actions of what he could do to make things better within his context and scope. And so I think thinking about happiness as well, we can let ourselves get kind of drugged down and feeling hopeless. But that's always in our back pocket of figuring out how do we frame it differently so we can find the hope in the hopelessness, right? We can find the optimism in the difficult situation. And I think that's just a powerful thing that I'll take away with me. I've always felt strongly that it's important to, whenever I possibly can, see the positive lining or, the silver lining. What is the lesson? What is the gift in this moment? How can we have a positive but realistic view of this? And so that aligned really nicely with that thinking.
Yeah, I mean, there's something there where, like, I like to embrace reality and also not let my emotions guide my decision making, like, fully. Like, I feel like those are kind of two things that help guide me when maybe I'm feeling distraught or sulky or whatever, like get me in a bad mood. Like I get in the feels. And there's not that I want to be emotionless, is that I don't want to react. Like if I'm fearful, my gut reaction is anger. And that's not going to serve me or the thing that I'm projecting that towards. It's probably not going to help. There are probably some extreme situations in which that kind of fight or flight reaction is helpful.
Right.
But in this modern day, usually it's just causing me anxiety. Things that aren't life-threatening that I'm allowing to dictate how I'm feeling, and then allowing my feelings to dictate how I'm acting. So I guess I don't really know where else to go with that. but it does bring up, like, to get myself out of those things, like I'll use gratitude or curiosity, like I kind of already mentioned. Instead of simply feeling down, I'll ask myself, well, why?
Yeah.
Like, and then, what it was, like those 7 layers if I have to, to really get to the
All
root.
the whys.
Yeah, get to the root cause.
Sure.
And maybe, a lot of times I'm not ready for that. I just notice, like, oh, I'm not in a great mood, or so, like, whether it was like, oh, I'm feeling like I'm not good enough because my wife can't take a bath when she wants, right? Like, say that,
Sure.
that kind of, I mean, thinking back, I'm like, oh, that kind of was getting me in a little bit of a funk. Like, it was making me feel less than because you didn't have what you needed. And I think I pull a decent amount of my identity from being able to serve you in a way, right? Like, and provide for you and to make sure that you have what you need because you work so hard doing that for me and for the kids too.
Yeah.
So I want to reciprocate.
I think being aware of where you're at and trying to shift it is the work.
Yeah.
Right. I think that is the work because it's been a long time since I felt like I have to show up only positive. And I don't even know where that pressure comes from or came from, but positive did not equal happiness always.
Yeah.
And like you hear that a lot, I would say that, if you think of people that it's like, whoa, I never knew so and so was so sad, because they always seem like the life of the party, the clown, right?
The surface. You see the surface level of a lot of people or things. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think what we're not talking about is putting on a mask.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to talk about is that happiness is really tapping into finding ways to be the authentic you and leaning into that so you can find joy in what you do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the one last thing that I wanted to just bring up, going back to pulling together kind of an aha from the book, Happier, and a theme on Gary Vee's podcast episode. And we can put links to these into the
just
show notes.
Send them to me.
I'll send them to you.
Yep.
Okay. The idea that our goals are proclamations to the world that we can overcome obstacles. I thought that was a really profound nugget because it's saying not that you're going to be happy for the sake of just being happy and just randomly, like I said, being in that field with the unicorns and the rainbows and the birds flying around your head, but that it's okay and it's really great to have purpose and have goals of where you want to go. And that by having those, that's kind of saying, hey, world, I know that not everything is perfect. I know that I'm going to have challenges along the way. And by setting this goal, I'm confident and I'm saying that I can overcome challenges. That really ties well to Gary Vee's piece of where are you going and hold yourself accountable to that, right? Align your purpose and your goals with where you're going, and that will create happiness by holding yourself accountable to get to those things that you want to do. And so I just wanted to throw that out there and see if that brought up anything for you.
Yeah. Well, and a few things. So, like understanding why. And it brings up the, if it's, so say we're doing the podcast because we want 1 million subscribers.
Right.
Probably going to leave you pretty empty once you get there.
Right.
Even when that's your motivation, you're going to realize, like, oh, now I need 2 million, kind of thing.
Right.
So that kind of pops in my head. And then also the, like, being able to proclaim what you want
Mm-hmm.
that can feel like a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And it has for me in years past. But that's one of those things that feels scary,
Mm-hmm.
but I urge people to do it as much as they can,
Yeah.
because once you do it, you're going to say, oh, why did I wait so long to say I
Right.
wanted that?
Yeah.
I could have started so much sooner if I only
Mm.
took that little leap kind of thing. Like,
Right.
we've talked about that before, and I still find myself hesitating and doing things, but my point being, find your support networks or find the things that help you feel like it's not going to be a devastating thing
Mm-hmm.
to just simply say it out loud, right? And we talked about just writing it on a piece of paper sometimes if you have to,
Yeah. Doesn't have to be hard, right?
yeah.
Or big.
Yeah. Once you say the thing, then you can actually get to work of making it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that, I really, and I've brought it up a few times in the past, that I always feel like it's maybe a little harsh, but like accountability and responsibility.
Right.
Like, but to me, that comes with important things and in doing things that matter. And so I hope when we talk about holding ourselves accountable, it feels more empowering. And like, think when I hear that now, I'm like, ooh, I get to have the responsibility. And like, let's see, what can I do with it?
Right.
And how is this going to turn out once I accept that kind of charge from myself,
Yeah. Do you want me to go over really quickly kind of the bigger themes that we talked about around happiness?
Yeah.
Okay. So just maybe as a way to wrap it up, I'm going to pick it up just so I can see closer. And actually, no, I'm going to do it without readers.
Okay.
We're going to try it.
Good luck.
Thank you. So the first one, we talked about that practice makes happiness, right? So trying to do tiny habits that shape your well-being is also going to shape happiness.
Okay.
So the importance of that, right?
Yeah.
Doing small things. The second thing we talked about is that happiness is not the absence of problems, right?
Yep.
So it is the courage to meet them with curiosity, choice, and compassion.
Like it.
Yeah. The third takeaway is take responsibility for your inner world. Don't outsource your happiness to external validation or conditions. Don't be swayed by the likes. Make sure you're doing it for the reasons you like, and that will bring happiness.
Mm.
And then the fourth is choosing optimism is going to help cultivate more happiness. Finding ways to be optimistic regardless of your situations or circumstances or how you're feeling. Finding ways to find hope.
Yeah, so out of that makes me think of finding a way to have support system, whether it's in community or uh, having something or someone that you can not simply hold it all yourself, I guess.
Right.
There's lots of great communities out there. We've talked about this. It's better when we go together, as you said.
And to build community with one another.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's wrap it up.
Sounds good to me.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Love you.
I love you.
Yay.
Yay. I like when you go, yay.
All right.